All right, this is Joseph Timmons with Xombiewoof Magazine, and you are yet again here for another episode of In the Groove. Now, that makes it sound kind of like jazz. It's not jazz. We're all about everything else. We're blues, jazz, metal, everything. But right now, we're metal. We're so metal, when we get in the rain, we rust. Okay? So, today, I have members from Corners of Sanctuary with us today, and they're going to rock your world. So, we have two gentlemen. Okay, everybody stop laughing. We've got two guys here. We got Mick and James. See, now you're laughing. See, there you go. There you go. So,
I start loosely as gentlemen, huh?
Yeah, very loosely, like the noose around the neck, very loosely. So,
loosely.
So, tell us about Corners of Sanctuary. What's going on?
That's your department, Mick. The teller of the story.
I'm teller of the story. Well, we're Corners of Sanctuary. We're from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We're traditional heavy metal, you know, in the vein of early new wave of British heavy metal, American metal, that kind of thing, you know, from the early 80s. But we're not so rooted in that we don't sound modern, so we kind of have a little modern twist to our sound.
Well, I listened. Okay, so you're the prankster, aren't you, James? You're the prankster of the band.
Nah.
He's a ball buster is what he is.
So I listened to some of your tracks, and we opened up the show with Axe to Grind. I played a little bit of Axe to Grind. You know, you probably didn't hear it on your end. But, you guys, it's not traditional metal. It's not like, you know, well, let's put it this way. I'm old school, so when I think traditional metal, I think of bands like Manowar. I think of bands like Onslaught. You know, the bands that we went to the clubs and listened to when I was young. Most of the people today, though, when they think of classic metal, they think, you know, the hairspray and the makeup and the, Walking on the Sunset Strip. No, none of that. We're talking real metal. We're talking go out, have fun, come back with a few bruises on the face, you look pretty. Everything's fine. You know, so I would say your music is closer to that vein. You know, closer to the real, serious metal with, you know, excellent riffs and real driving rhythms, not like, you know, ballady sort of stuff. I mean, your stuff is pretty tough edge. So, I mean,
right.
What's going on? What kind of crowds are you bringing in? I assume that you guys fill the house.
It's all chicks, topless chicks, and 12-year-old boys.
Well, here's the thing first. Like, when we call ourselves heavy metal, and that's kind of, you know, that was the term that we always used, you know, growing up and stuff like that. So, but we were quickly finding that in today's market and how the fans look at it, like what we considered heavy metal, or what we defined as heavy metal, wasn't what metal is considered today. So people kept pressing us in terms of, you know, what are you categorizing yourself as? And we're like, I don't know, we're heavy metal, you know, but that wasn't good enough. So I don't even, the traditional metal thing kind of just happened. So, you know, so that's why, you know, I mean, we've been...
Well, classic metal, right? Whatever you want. Something, the stuff before the hair stuff. How about that?
There you go.
Yeah, no, so you know, I mean, we just look at it as one thing, like that. This is what it is, and to us, it encompasses a whole bunch of stuff. But you know, I guess people want to have a specific to it, so I don't know. But in terms of shows, I mean, we get for the people that like, you know, that from the early new wave of British heavy metal and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we do get an older crowd, 35 and above, I would say.
Well, I mean, I wasn't driving at, you know, what kind of age group you got coming in, but I mean, like, okay, out here on the West Coast, the left coast, you go into a lot of the clubs now, and you don't see the leather jackets, the bracers, the guys that, you know, the road warrior type. I mean, granted, like I said, that's the kind of guys I used to see in the clubs. That's what I'm used to when I think of metal, and that's what I see when I, you know, look at you guys. I see the real deal. A lot of the stuff that goes as metal now is, all right, well, let me rephrase it like this. Okay, you can play fast, or you can play good. You guys play good and fast. You're heavy, hard edge. You know what you're doing. It's a serious sound. I could tell by listening to you that you all have real talent. You've worked at your craft. You know what you're doing when you're on stage and in the studio. You don't have to worry about, auto-tune and, all this, mixing stuff in the background. I mean, it's not Justin Bieber in a leather jacket. These are real guys on stage. So I wanted you to tell our audience, kind of like what drives you, what makes you create your music, what is your inspiration. I mean, there aren't very many bands like Manowar around anymore, or bands that really do their thing anymore. It's kind of a dying breed, not because there aren't people interested, but they don't seem to want to take the time to hone their craft like you have. So I kind of wanted you to espouse to our readers and our audience and our listeners what it takes to be real metal. All joking aside, I really dig what you're doing, and I wanted you to bring that to my readers.
So we've been playing together me and Mick have been playing together in different bands for about 30 years. It's about 4? I don't know, 85. So what it takes really is, first you have to have a group of people that do take the music seriously, and you really want to be careful on who you connect with within a band, because it is a lot of work. I think that's the first thing, right? You got to find people that are passionate, not from a "ooh, look at me, I'm so cool" passion, right? That's more like self-involved, but a passion for being in a band or a team, if you want to call it that. So have common vision, have a plan, right? A plan of attack, and a sound that you want to, and a system, so to speak, to what you want to play. I think that's really, and I think, you hit on a lot of the stuff. I mean, even when we were younger, let's say, or earlier in our careers, I think we were lucky enough to play with musicians that did take it serious like that. It wasn't, it wasn't just about drinking beer and doing drugs or any of that. We actually, most of the band still doesn't do drugs, right? Or, we'll have our soda pops, our beers and stuff, but don't drink before the set, drink after the set, scheduled rehearsals, scheduled timing from when we want to record, bass, drums, and Mick really does a good job of leading us in that way. That's really what it takes. Now, whatever your sound is, whether it's hardcore, thrash, traditional, classic metal, whatever, jazz, whatever it is, you got to approach it that way. And I think the other thing too, if you're going to be a musician, regardless of what genre you're playing in, you really have to have an open mind and enjoy listening to all genres of music, because you get a lot of influence that way from it. So that's a really long answer, but I don't know, Mick, anything to add on to that?
You touched upon a lot of it. You really have to enjoy what you're doing. We enjoy writing and making the music. The music, I'm pretty sure that all of us have gotten into the music because there was a self-empowerment to it. It brought the creative side of us out. It made us better people. And I know that may sound hokey, and a lot of people, it's just fucking metal. It's just, whatever it is. But you know what? It makes you think differently. It makes you look at things differently because there's a process to it. And you keep learning, and you're hoping to get better at it. And sometimes you're swinging for the fences, and sometimes it's a home run, and sometimes it isn't. But you really have to enjoy doing it and keep doing it, and it's on its own accord. It gets better and better and better. As James was saying, we've been doing it a long time, but every time we get together, it's something brand new. It's a new experience. We've done tons of shows, but every show's brand new. And I mean, I still get the jitters, like that's 3 minutes before we're going to go on. And maybe 2 or 3 minutes into the first song, I still have the jitters. And then that kind of keeps you on your toes and keeps it fresh and exciting and that kind of thing. And yeah, regardless of the genre of music, everybody, you should be honing your craft the best that you can. Metal was kind of built on it's raw and it's natural, and this shit with auto-tune and all. Hey, listen, if that's making you a career, man, that's awesome. You know what I mean? But that's not metal. Doesn't have that. It's not what it's supposed to be. It actually is just supposed to be as in its raw form as much as you can get it. To a point that you can listen to it, that you would enjoy it.
Now going back and kind of listening to some of the tracks that I did from the material I received, Axe to Grind. Let's talk about Axe to Grind. Now, when you went in the studio to do that, tell us a little bit about, the composition, what you did, how you did it, and compare that. I understand you're coming out with another album, a new album soon called Metal Machine, unless you've already put it in mix production, as opposed to that. What are you taking from your traditional sound, bringing to the new material? Give us a little hint of what's to come, so to speak.
Well, with Axe to Grind, we had, we were in, when we started working with Axe to Grind, we were out supporting our Harlequin album, and people would come up to us and go, man, you guys are so much heavier live than, what we hear on the CD and all that. And we're like, oh, that's cool, it's kind of neat. And a lot of it was designed, we had that intention to have a different live sound than the recording sound, because they're two different experiences. And at the time, we were only a three-piece. So Sean was on drums and doing lead vocals, and I was doing guitar, and I did keyboards in the studio. James was doing backing vocals and bass, So what we were doing on the album may have been somewhat a little bit more complex, because we were trying to achieve one type of thing, and then live was something else. It was a stripped down version of just of a power trio. So we kept hearing it time and time again, and then we said, well, you know what? We'll try to make it a little heavier, try to capture some of that live feel. So a lot of those songs were developed, created, written while we were on the road, and that type of thing. And at times it felt like we were dragging an axe around, and we were going for that heavier edge, and it's like, well, we want to. If we're trying to do the old school thing, let's pay homage to the guys that what they did before. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. We just want to keep it spinning and everybody have a good time with it. So that's what we did with Axe to Grind, and kind of we made it a little more raw, a little edgier. And we're doing the same thing with Metal Machine. However, we thought about maybe making it even more so closer to what that early American metal was when it was happening in 80, 81. A little bit more. It was simplistic, but right in your face. So we're calling it a simple sophistication right now. And the other thing that we did is, because we're trying to keep it fun, is if you remember, back in the early days, everybody used to write about, they would eat shit, sleep, drink, metal, everything was metal.
Yeah.
Metal this, metal that. And it actually, at some point, it started to get a little corny. But we're kind of doing that, just to have a little tongue in cheek with it. And, and we're going that way, but it's going to be definitely a continuation of Axe to Grind, but not the same stuff. It may be just a little darker.
I think the shit's fucking, and I'm sure I'm biased on this, but just what listen. And this is the fucking truth. We're our hardest critics. There was some, Mick will say, oh, that bass part doesn't sound right, it sucks, change it, or we're pretty we've been together so long that, we kind of already know something sucks before someone tells us, and we hope they don't tell us, but, so we know what we're capable of, we know, right, and some of the shit that's, we're mixed down is primarily the majority mix, right, of the mix is primarily done. We're just laying in some more vocals, and, we have such fun with it, and it's such a process that sometimes, and maybe all musicians do this, but when we listen to playback, sometimes I forget, not that I forget, but sometimes I imagine that I'm watching a band play our material like it's not us.
Yeah, like you stepped outside of yourself. You stepped outside yourself and you see somebody else do it. I mean, I know, like you said, it sounds kind of corny sometimes, but the thing is, everybody wanted to be like the guy on the Man of War cover, You got this guy, is like all muscle, rippling muscles, long hair flowing in the breeze, a hot chick wrapped around his right leg, and a guitar in his hand, and a claymore sword in the other, and blood, and, everybody wanted that.
You got me pegged. That's me. See our photos? It's amazing.
But you got it. It's a little tongue in cheek. It's a little tongue in cheek. You got to take yourself seriously, but not too seriously.
Right.
I have a lot of friends. I mean, I have a friend who used to be in Obituary, and he's starting a new band on his own. And I've got, I know the drummer from Flotsam and Jetsam, great bands. But it's like, there are some bands that can pull off that evil, dark exterior thing. They can pull off that darkness, and it works. But then you got some, they got this guy that climbs up on stage, and he's like talking about demons and devils and Satan and all this. And I mean, the guy looks like he wouldn't survive in a square fight. You know what I mean? It's like, do you work at the dairy barn during the day? I mean, what's going on? But you got to walk the walk, talk the talk, and you have to have an image that reflects who you are inside, and that comes through in the music. So, like I said, when I was listening to your tracks, that's what I heard. I heard guys actually coming through their music and being who they are, not just on stage, but through the speakers. And that's what's missing in the music industry today. I mean, there's just so many, they look one way on stage, but when you catch them in the street, there's something completely different. I mean, I'm not decrying them of it. I'm not saying that they suck or anything like that. But I mean, let's call a spade a spade. When you come out on stage, your fans know that by looking at you what they're going to hear, and
I mean, there is a certain persona, right, that you do take on stage, right, especially the sort of the older that you get, right, and the more responsibility you have in life and whatever, you do take on a little bit of a different persona. I mean, we're, if you look at our photos, I mean, they're pretty true to us, but I mean, I'm not strutting around with a jean vest on all the time, with like, I mean, you know what I mean? So, it just depends. I think the attitude is the same regardless of where we're at and how we look at life and and the people we choose to hang out with and associate with, right? Mm-hmm. And that's people with character. But, yeah, you're right. I mean, when we get off the stage, it's not like we're not timid people by any stretch of the imagination, but we're also not, we're not going to snap your legs off or, rip a line of coke or anything like that.
I don't know, snapping legs off, that would make a great show.
That'd make a fantastic show. The lawsuit afterwards was a fucking murder. But
that's only if they catch you, because they got broken legs. They can't run now.
Yeah. Well, what the thing is like we're not really trying to develop a gimmick or anything like that. I mean, like, and I know that's, like, especially, like, the industry it's so tough. That, like, I know, bands are kind of forced to do something like, they want to be on the edge and stuff like that, and some of it is just a show. I mean, so, our gimmick is the music. We put everything we fucking have into the music. Whether you like it or you don't, that's not what we're trying to discuss. I mean, as individual artists, that's what we're trying to do. It really is everything. The music comes first. It comes before any of the members in the band, and we say that to each other all the time. And that's not like, that doesn't mean that that we're all expendable, because we're not, but we are. But the music comes first. but so whatever we do, we do to the better music, and that's our gimmick. We're just trying to put it into the music. I mean, because honestly, the four of us, we're not spring chickens, and we're not eye candy. You know what I mean? So we.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that.
Well, that's right. I forgot you're the man of war guy. But so it's really the music is what's important. And if you think about this on a percentage, right? The majority of people will only ever hear you from your CD or some MP3 that they stole from somewhere, or some bad site that they stole from, and it sounds like shit anyway. But that's the majority of it. Most people won't see you live in the course of your career. Given the population. So it's important that your music is as good as it can get, I guess. And not just sound wise, but it has to be like. Does it have the elements? Is it arranged well? Is there something? Is there a message of some sort? You know what I mean? Not just like you're going around whipping out your testicles for whatever case. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing.
I may have lost you there a little bit, Mike. But
Well, no, I'm saying about the music has to have like if that's your gimmick, right? If your music is your gimmick, then it has to have some kind of substance to it.
Right.
It can't just be an album of 10 songs or 3 minutes and 25 seconds each, and I fulfilled that. You know what I mean? Like there should be some substance from each song.
Or
especially in today's world,
the like 4-hour solo from the beginning of track 1 to the end of track 23. It's all like
Yeah.
There's a time and a place.
Are albums for the listeners, or are they for to enhance your own ego? I guess, and sometimes I think that's where as artists we get lost, and then we lose a little bit.
Yeah. So there's times that I'm like, Mick, drop the bass back. You know what I mean? Bring the bass up in this part, lower the bass there, make sure that because he does a lot of the review with engineering and what have you. So. And there's other times where I'm like, hey, Mick, you got to bring that lead back, and he's, we'll have a band sort of consensus on things. Sometimes we'll I get a little run happy sometimes, so we'll actually pull runs out. You know what I mean? In certain areas, I'll redo them. So it doesn't, we're not fighting for space. Right on the recordings, we're not fighting for space on the stage. Matter of fact, I prefer to be left the fuck alone when I'm playing up there because I got to concentrate. You know what I mean?
Well, you guys seem like you got a great chemistry. All joking aside, you guys have a great chemistry when it comes through in the music. What is it? You've been playing together for a long time. What has it been like? That long road, so to speak, of working together, stage after stage, studio after studio. Being able to work together for so long, what was the secret of your success to be able to come up with great music and still remain close? Because there are a lot of bands that they're really good the first couple of albums, but they spend way too much time together, and then they're not band anymore. So what's the secret of your success?
I think it goes back to maybe something that me and Mick said towards the beginning, or it's just the character of the people that you're with. We never had... we never had any chemical dependencies. We look out for each other, right? Whether it's someone's having a hard time, family issues, whatever it is, we're so I think that's part of it.
Sean, we've been playing with Sean, the three of us, like the music core of the band. We were in a band, for like 5-6 years in the 80s together. And then we split up, and then Sean did some of his own projects, and James and I went into something, and then somewhere we met up again, and Sean was doing some work with us, and then we split up again. So we've been back and forth, and we've grown together, and we've shared a lot of the same experiences, and we share pretty much all the same roots. So that understanding makes things, easy and enjoyable. So we're we're you know if we're writing new music and we're just kind of like doing some jam sessions, running through some stuff that we've you know just been farting around with here and there. Like we kind of, because we've been playing together so long, we just kind of know where we're going. Now, I mean, some people could say, well, that's predictable, and then that shit gets boring and all. Well, yeah, listen, it's part of the process sometimes. You know, you go with what's there, and then we'll discuss it, or, you know, and then we'll throw in some other element, and then we've changed the game, and now that's a new experience for us all, and we continue to grow, and that's so, again, like I said earlier, like each show's brand new for us, even though, you know, even if it's a place we've played several times before, it's and so that chemistry that we can count on one another, we know we're there.
Well, you want your band. I mean, I'm all right. Speaking as a fan, when you have a band that you like, you want that band to be, you know, someone that you can bond with, someone that you can hear and go, yeah, they're talking to me, they're speaking to me, I understand what they're saying, and you know, people grow and they mature, hopefully, James, they mature. You know, and you want them to continually be talking to you and saying, hey, I'm there for you, I'm your friend, I understand you, I'm going to speak in a way that represents you, I'm your voice when you can't speak. And you're doing that for your fans. Those bands that don't seem to do that, they get lost, or they wind up going like, you know, a different tangent, and people are like, who the fuck are they? I don't recall hearing them before. So, you know, again, this is just a testament to your success. So I've kind of kept you on the phone for a while. I really appreciate your time and your patience with me and the technical mumbo jumbo we had in the beginning here. But go ahead and tell everybody, you know, what's going on. When is your album coming out? Where can they catch you? Obviously, this is a recorded show, so people may be hearing this after the fact. But for those that actually catch it when it's fresh and hot, you know, let them know where you're going to be playing.
Well, if you want to find out more about Corners of Sanctuary, you can go to our official website at www.cornersofsanctuary.com, and you can click to all our social networks there. You can follow, you know, check out all our videos, get some merchandise from the catalog, and then we got a ton of you know, dates. We are currently in the studio finishing up our next album, Metal Machine. We're having Stu the Hammer Marshall from Death Dealer. He's going to be doing the mastering of that. We're very excited to have him on board for this project. And as long as everything goes as planned, the album should release in late April, early May. I'm knocking on wood right now, but that's the plan. So, and that, you know, that album's going to be exclusively available at our site. I don't think we're going to do iTunes this time around for it. But yeah, you know, check us out. We're I don't know, March 3rd, we're at the Fire in Philadelphia. We're opening for Sleaze. They're a national band. And then we're in Delaware March 6th. We're opening up for Carfax Abbey. Anybody here on the East Coast should kind of know who they are. And we're going to be in Connecticut in June 27th, and I think we're doing there's a hard rock metal biker fest that's kind of rolling through the country starting in May, and I think we're on 3 dates of that. I think we're doing June 13th, 14th, and 15th. So you can check us out there. Again, you go to our website, and you know, things are constantly being added, so you can, you know, follow us there.
The 21st of March, Mick, you want to go through that too as well? Our favorite label.
21st of March, in our hometown area, we kind of play like a club that's always been, you know, that's always supported us, and so we're going to be at the Nail in Ardmore, and that's the Equal Rock. So come on out, and if you're in the area, we got a couple other bands on the bill, and that's on the website as well. Should be a good time.
All right, well, this is Joseph Timmons with Xombiewoof Magazine, and you have been in the groove with myself and with Corners of Sanctuary. And once again, guys, I really do appreciate you calling in and dealing with the madness and mayhem that is my life. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Right on, thank you.
And you know what? If I ever get on the East Coast and I get out to PA, I don't know if they're still there anymore. When I was a younger man, full head of hair and no responsibilities, and a whole hell of a lot more money than I have now. I used to go skiing a Camelback. Is Camelback still there? Oh, I got to catch some fresh powder there. Used to go skiing all the time. Can't do that anymore now that I got old. Who am I kidding? I'm going to do it anyway. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. You have a wonderful evening, and we're going to trail out with some more music by Corner of the Sanctuary. And you guys rock.
You have been listening to In the Groove. In the Groove, sponsored by Xombiewoof Magazine. You can find out more on our podcasts at this station or at our website, http://www.xombiewoof.com, spelled XOMBIEWOOF.com. You can also find us at our blog, xombiewoof.blogspot.com, as well as on Twitter, Instagram, and all social media at Xombiewoof. Thank you, and tune in for the next interview next week.